Good morning, everyone. Onegaishimasu. I hope everyone is very fine this morning. I'm going to read number 13 of the Shokushu this morning, the unity of calm and action. Just as a top spinning very rapidly mimics a calm state, true calmness is the height of action. As the eye of the typhoon is always calm, movement gains its strength from calmness. Calmness and action are exactly one. By always experiencing our one point and unifying our mind and body, spare time appears even when we're busy. And we don't lose our calm mind even when facing important tasks. In such a state, we are able to perform extraordinary works. So I love this shokushu because of what it points to. We have difficulty with mind-body unification often because we're so addicted to that which is seen, to the object, to the thing itself. For instance, if I'm giving a key test and I'm focused only on the body of the examinee and touching the body, my hand touching that body, these are objects. And so I'm not actually giving key test if that's what my mind is focused on. And likewise, if you're taking a key test, of course, we're testing your mind-body altogether-ness, right? Mind-body unification. So if your mind is stuck on the examiner's body and the examiner's hand touching you, of course, you don't pass the key test. Yes? So what are we missing? We're missing the space that the object occupies. Yeah? The unseen. So, it's like listening to music, and people listen to music, they maybe only hear the notes. But when we listen to music, it's particularly important in classical music or flamenco or, well, those are the kind of music that I know best. So maybe it's with all music, but we listen to the sound, the silence between the sounds, the stillness between the action of the notes. We don't only listen to the stillness, of course. We're listening to everything all together, but we don't only listen to the notes. Otherwise, we don't really get what the music is pointing to. And likewise, imagine reading poetry or reading a poem, or forget a poem, even reading a book or looking at a painting. It's not always the object, but that which the object is pointing to, or that which allows the object to be present. Of course, the object is very important, but it can only exist by virtue of the space that allows it to be there, to take place. Understand? So look, when we're meditating, we're resting in mind-body unification. Okay. In other words, we're resting in the seen and the unseen together. The seen in meditation is that which we feel in our body. We are completely in our body, and we know we're in our body because of kinetic feeling, the feeling of kinetic energy. But also, we're resting in the unseen, that which cannot be seen. Now, when a thought arises, it's because of we get bored with the unseen. We get bored with the seen unseen. We get bored with mind-body unification. A thought arises because we're addicted to object. Even if it's just imagining an object, that's good enough, because that will feed that addiction for a few moments. And when we see that's what we're doing, of course, we just return. So this is just the way we are, folks. Everybody is like this. No one escapes from this. But it's very important to notice that we're not noticing what we're not noticing. Like even right now, you can just um, look at any part of the room, even your computer or your iPhone, whatever you're looking at. Or me, you're looking at my picture in the Zoom. It doesn't matter what it is, but then imagine the space that takes up. See if you can experience that which is unseen at the same time that you're experiencing that which is seen. This is not a small thing. This is what we call unification, mind-body unification. It's everything all at once. So in science, the science is great, but it just looks at parts. It examines parts, objects, things. It's not interested in everything at once. And that's fine. We have to examine things that way if we want to know about this objective world. But for us, we're experiencing everything all at once. That which is unseen and that which is seen. So this is meditation. And this is how people often ask, how do I bring my meditation into everyday life? So this is how. This is a way of saying this, that you can make an exercise for yourself every time you're outdoors, or every time you're driving, or every time you're doing something. Whenever you do that thing, remember to see the space that allows that thing to exist. And so see it all at once. Experience everything at once. Okay, so we can practice that now. We'll begin with keep breathing. Okay, well, if you talk to a physicist, they'll remind you that objects, including the human body, are made of atoms. Basic element is atoms. And an atom is primarily made of space. And what is not space is subatomic particle. And subatomic particle, if we look at it very closely, is either a piece of something or a unit of energy, a wave or a particle. So what is all this? See, that's why space is very, very important to experience. When we depend upon the illusion that's created by all these particles gathering strongly together, whether it's a bell or a glass of water or a human body, when that's our reality, and then it may seem like everything, but it's extremely limited. And it's delusional, actually, because that's not actually how it is. That's how our senses tell us it is. But as we become more and more mature in our practice, we begin to realize that there's more and more to this business of being on earth and in a body and experiencing things. There's much, much more to it. So as we become more mature and recognize the unseen, or the unclear or the unknown. So then some of that becomes known. And as we move on in our practice, more and more of that becomes clear. More and more of it becomes known. More and more of it becomes part of which is seen and understood and experienced directly. Now, it's never all of it because it's infinite. The mystery continues to exist beyond our reach, and that's wonderful. But to be tied to a world of the physical, of the gross, as if that's all there is a very limited way of living. Okay, so that's a mouthful. But I'm trying to explain in words, granted they're very inadequate, but I'm trying to explain or point to an experience that we have, that is possible for you to have. So can you say something to me about that? What's that say to you? Tracy Reisner. Take your time.
Morning, Sensei.
Good morning.
What does it say to me? Well, I wanted to ask you a question, actually. You talked about thinking after you read the Shokshu, and how it's something we all do, but it's when in our meditation, when we start thinking, it's when we're bored or tired of the unknown. And I wanted you to elaborate more on that.
Okay, thank you. So maybe when I say thinking in that context, I'm more pointing to fantasizing or imagining. So when we have thoughts, well, let's say when we are planning a meal or planning a job in our everyday life, that kind of thinking is organizing that which is unorganized, creating a form that we can follow. That's what we do in life. That's one kind of thinking. Very useful, very important to be able to do that in a very organized manner, and to do that very effectively, very efficiently. The more efficient we can be with our mind in that way, the more effective we are at communicating with other people. And so the more maybe effective we are as human beings. But the kind of thinking that maybe we can call it daydreaming, dreaming, fantasizing, imagining, that is something that takes us away from whatever it is that we're engaged in. And we become, let's say, distracted from what it is that is in front of us. If we're bored with the work that we're doing, we start fantasizing about lunch, let's say. And so this happens in meditation because this is our habit. When we don't see the value in what it is that we're doing in the moment, then the outlet is to fantasize, to think about something physical, think about some pleasant person or meal or even an idea. So those words are also physical and are very powerful. And so maybe we think about a form of words, a thought form, some ideal that is imaginary, but feels very spiritual and very useful and very important and very sellable. So we fantasize about bliss. So it's not just food and sex. It's everything we fantasize about. And it's whatever we're doing that takes us away from fully appreciating and experiencing mind and body unification, or object and space, or self and other, shoga, taiga, the entire thing itself. So that's what we're practicing in meditation. And we see so clearly that kind of fantasization, imagination, can get in the way of, if used incorrectly, whatever it is that we're doing. So that's how we take that into daily life. When we understand that, then we don't bother. We look deeper into what it is that we're working on, deeper into the conversation we're having with another person. We look deeper into whatever it is that's in front of us. So that's bringing what we learn in meditation into daily life.
Mhm.
That's the way I see it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Sensei,
Someone else. Yes.
yes, I have a question too. Is there a connection if you are deeply connected to a special person, that and you know his mind, and sometimes you know his thoughts and feeling, and so is there a connection to space? What you are talking about space? Or it's just a form of communication.
Yes. Okay. I heard you. I'd like to have you tell me, identify what you are pointing to better. What do you mean you know what someone is thinking?
Um, um, I feel these feelings, or I get the idea, or the thoughts, and what he or she will do next, or I know the telephone rings, and I know it's a friend of mine, and so on. Or
Okay, okay.
this is,
So intuition, you
yes,
intuit. So
yeah.
this is, yeah, um, I don't, so those of us that experience that, well, basically everyone experiences this. Some pay more attention than other people to it.
Mhm.
Some consider it to be more vital, more important than others do. Um, and it certainly occurs often, as you say, when you're with someone that you really spend a lot of time with and care a lot about and are inclined to pay a deeper level of attention to. And of course, whenever we're in this kind of situation, um, we see, I talked about as we're maturing, uh, that which is unknown becomes known. That which is unclear becomes clear. That which is unseen becomes seen. So in some sense, this is an example of that. Some people develop a very, very powerful sense of empathy. Um, they even have a name for themselves. They call themselves empaths. But this is not a thing to name. Everyone is like this. Some people pay more attention to it than others, right? So it's like having a talent. When you are little and you like to sing and you sing a lot, pretty soon you're a good singer. And they say,
Mm.
oh, she has a lot of talent. She's a very talented singer. So whatever we pay attention to, we get very good at. And so when we're paying attention to someone we really care about, which is so easy to do, it's like second nature. Of course, that which previously was unknown begins to become known to us. So in some sense, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is what happens in the dojo when you're this when we're learning to give a key test. It's not personal in the sense that if I'm giving you crystal, a key test. It's not that specifically about, I have to know something about crystal. No, but I get you. That's what I'm testing, is you, maybe not crystal, if you understand what I mean. So I have to be attentive to everything that you are. So that's what I'm trying to say when it's all of the space and all of the object, all of the beingness. Okay, so does that cover what you're asking?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I hope that this doesn't feel to you like it's too far out there, because it's extremely practical. This is everyday living, folks, except it's everyday living starting to include more and more and more. And isn't that what our practice is? Noticing, experiencing more and more and more. When you speak, many people don't feel that they have power. Many people feel the need to be seen, feel the need to be heard. And most people, and that's because they don't listen, they don't appreciate what they say when they're saying it. That means you have to listen to the silence between your own words. When you're speaking, words have power, but it's not just the word itself, it's the word and the silence together that have the power to influence and to support. Of course, we use these always to help other people. And often we're helping people in ways that we don't even know. That doesn't matter. You don't need to know that. It's fine that people tell you sometimes. That's okay, but that's not what it's about. It's really being true to what you speak when you're speaking it. So this is. Can you see how practical, how important this is? And you can see the same thing is true in movement, in the dojo. When you're moving, there's a space that you're moving in that allows all that to take place. And you have to experience the space and the physical body at the same time, the uke and the nage. So that's mind-body unification. That's moving in the unseen, creating this sense of harmony that allows the unseen to be experienced. That's our practice. Okay. Thank you very much. See you again soon. どうもありがとうございました。